Over the last 10 years, I've made a lot of good decisions, but I've also made a lot of really bad ones, involving cryptos of various memes and phallic body parts. So I'm about to give you guys my roadmap to a successful life by talking about the most important things I've learned over the last 10 years. If you are tied to a salary or hourly wage, you will never be truly independent or rich. That's because your income potential is finite and constrained, meaning no matter how above and beyond you go, your compensation will not change that much other than maybe getting like a goodie bag from your company at some Christmas party at the end of the year with some old AirPods. And if you're really lucky and you did a fantastic job, a $10 gift card to Starbucks, just something you would get your high school girlfriend. Now there is something that is so important, but it is one of the most overlooked things when it comes to people planning out, going out on their own or whatever venture they have in mind, and that is a 6-month emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, get a job. Literally any job. Hopefully one you like or are good at, but remember, this is temporary. Go sell Topics to a guy behind a Whataburger. I don't care. As long as it helps cover 6 months of living. Now that you have your emergency fund, you need to go do something on your own. This could be something like starting your own business, starting your own company, or even just freelancing. Now I started with tutoring. It's easy, it's fun, and you can make a lot of money from that. Now you have a solid foundation upon which you can build. As you start going off on your own and you have your emergency fund, you have an idea of what you want to do, it's time to start controlling your finances. And for most people, that means your debt. The most important part of this is really knowing yourself. You need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Knowing your shortcomings and how to overcome them or at least control them, and honing your strengths at the same time is key to having a good foundation and is an absolute must on this roadmap, guys. Think of building a successful life with no foundation. It's kind of like trying to build an NFL stadium on top of an active volcano. Start cultivating good habits. I know I'm about to be like the millionth YouTuber who said this, but seriously, guys, I can't stress how important it is to go to the gym regularly, to eat healthy, to take care of your body and take care of your mind. Think of this roadmap or this journey like trying to cross the Atlantic. Your body and your mind are like your ship. If your ship is nasty and raggedy and all over the place and things are broken, and nobody ever cleans up after it, you know, there's like fungus growing over there, wood is just falling apart, your ship's not gonna make it and it's probably gonna give people diarrhea. You need to sometimes just shut off your brain and do. If you start thinking, then you start thinking too much and that eats into your schedule. And it becomes much easier to make an excuse to move on to other things or just not do it at all. Also, don't neglect good sleep. People will say go to bed at 8, 11, 2 a.m., maybe wake up at like 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 11 a.m. That's BS. Different people are more efficient at different times of the day. You don't need to get up at Mark Wahlberg o'clock. Again, guys, this all goes back to knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. Know yourself or get to know yourself and plan accordingly. Make sure you get into routines, whether it's a workout routine or schedule that you stick to or sleep time or whatever it is. Start getting into habits. Start having routines for everything that you do. Put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Talk to strangers. And if you're like me and super introverted, that's gotta be scarier than 1,000 jump scares. But you have to start putting yourself out there. Start showing up early to meetings. Show up early to conferences. Wherever you're going, be the guy that makes it a habit to be 5 minutes early. The people you work with, whether it's clients or contractors, whoever it is, they will not only appreciate it, but they'll also take notice of that. You start to build a good character not only for yourself, but also for the people that you interact with. Now that you understand yourself better and have a foundation, it's time to start your own thing. Here we start to dive a little deeper into creating something for yourself and at the same time, learning more about yourself. Running your own thing is hard, but it is the single most rewarding and fulfilling thing you guys will ever do because that means there is no ceiling anymore. You have the ability to chart your own course, which is an incredible feeling that very few people will get to experience in life, but only if you take advantage of it and go about it the right way. At this point, if you haven't already, you need to be asking yourself, what is my advantage? And this last one is absolutely critical to being successful on your own. How can I differentiate myself? If your idea is to start your own company, Is this something that you can cover yourself, aka bootstrap, or do you need outside investment? Keep in mind that an idea that fits into a very trending niche is going to have a much easier time getting funding. Right now, AI is the trendy thing. Everybody's trying to start their own AI startup. So that AI that threatens to expose your search history if you oversleep every morning is a lot more likely to receive funding than a company solving a very sensitive issue that is in a niche that no one really talks about. Like a company that would actually force handyman to answer the phone. VC investors especially, they eat up trendy shit. Now that you have your idea and you're trying to raise funding or getting whatever it is that you're trying to do started, this next step is absolutely crucial, and it helps you avoid one of the worst situations that most creators find themselves in, which is having spent a really long time and a lot of money on an idea that never takes off. Because the most important thing you need to do on this journey is get whatever it is that you're trying to build out in front of users and customers ASAP. Test your idea or your MVP as soon as possible and as cheaply as possible. Do not become business partners with your friend or your significant other or partner unless you're willing to lose them. Most small businesses fail, guys. And even running a successful business is extremely stressful and puts a lot of pressure on everyone. Business meetings, or really any meetings or any form of communication during this time, are going to be more passive aggressive than an HR girl working in an office. Now, that is not to say that you can't start a successful business with a friend. A lot of successful businesses out there have been started by friends. I'm just making you aware of a very common reality. You will for sure get into disagreements with these people. Whether or not it escalates to a fight, again, depends on the person you bring on board. Try to find someone who is just as ambitious and talented as you, but in something that you completely suck at. So if you're the technical co-founder, find someone who's maybe a marketing business guru. Or if you're the marketing or business guru, find someone who's the techie guy. You're introverted, they're extroverted. They know code, you know how to market. Find the yin to your yang. Next, you need to network. It's crazy to me to find out the number of people who don't even know what networking is or have no idea how to go about it. The first step in networking is create a list of people you're gonna network to. Whether that's clients, people from other companies, whoever it is that you're trying to basically reach out to or get something from, start by creating a list. Excel, Word, whatever works for you. Create a list with their name, the company they work for, or who they are, their email, their phone number, whatever way you're going to contact them. My personal favorite, and the one I recommend to everyone, is start sending out cold emails. 90% of them will get no responses, or they'll go straight into a spam filter, but a single response can change the trajectory of your life. Now, I know LinkedIn is still Facebook level, furrycon level cringe, but it is still one of the main places to go for networking. So go on there and download some third-party extensions to scrape email addresses. So you need to start selling yourself, your ideas, your company, whatever it is that you are doing. You need to start selling it, and you need to start selling yourself. So be your own salesman. And this one's gonna sound cliche as hell, guys, but don't be afraid to fake it till you make it. When I was a management consultant, everyone around me, including myself, we were all just faking it. We pretended to be subject matter experts in whatever project we were put on, when in reality, all we did was go to meetings and prepare for meetings. Every single person, friends and family, who surprisingly cared enough that I was a consultant, always asked me, what do management consultants do? We fake it. But it's an industry worth billions and billions of dollars. So if there ever was an example of fake it till you make it and selling yourself, consulting. Now, while you're growing your business or yourself or your company, you need to eventually start bringing things to the table. Most people, and this is true of many, many venture capital firms out there, some of them even explicitly come out and say this, they invest in the founder first and the idea second. Go to talks with other people who you're trying to emulate, other founders, other experts in the field. Go to TED Talks, sneak into Stanford or other top-tier institutions, and just go and absorb as much as you can from guest speakers who show up there. And make sure to cut out the inefficiencies. Cut out things that take your time and are not worth your time. But I'm not saying cut out the things that make you you, the things that you truly deep down enjoy and define you as a person. Save those one or two things that you love to do, your hobbies, your passions. don't give up on those. And as you're going through this roadmap, guys, always remember that you need to spend money to make money. I guess this is why the rich always get richer. If you want to think about it in banking and consulting terms, analysts get their wallets and cheeks clapped by their superiors so that hopefully they can get that promotion, build that network, or whatever it is they need to do to advance themselves and bring in more money. Build a moat. Hopefully at some point early on, you've thought of ideas to differentiate yourself, and that's going to help you stave off the competition for a while. But just like a medieval moat around the fort or a castle, you need to build a moat around what it is that you're doing. Create an advantage that is super hard or impossible for someone else to replicate. Maybe you have supply chain capabilities that others can't replicate. You could have distribution channels that no one can replicate. You could be the Yakuza of gear knob covers. You know, like those weird gear knob cover things that some people have in their cars. Maybe you have a restaurant that clogs arteries better than 100 Whataburgers, so no one can replicate you. That's kind of like what that heart attack grill in Las Vegas does. And this is one of the most important things I'm going to say in this video, guys. Do not give up. Don't be discouraged. Don't surrender. Don't throw in the towel, guys. Everyone is on their own path. There are people who have taken decades to build a successful company, and there are people who have done it in a couple of years or less. But everyone is on their own path. That doesn't mean keep banging at the wall if something that you're doing isn't working, if it's not gaining traction for some reason, or there's something that it just isn't catching on. That doesn't mean just keep going with that mistake, whatever it is that's holding you back. Don't keep banging at the wall. Refine, refine, refine. Spend the time you have refining your idea, refining your product, refining your company. And don't let bad people or distractions lead you astray. And finally, when you have made enough money to where you can start investing properly, don't do options unless you really, really know what you're doing. But I don't think most of you do. So unless you're an institution, stay away from options, guys. And if you have a lot of capital, go real estate, depending on market conditions and location. And finally, guys, burnout. It's almost inevitable at some point, especially when you're on this roadmap or journey for a long time. So make sure that you have a support system in place, whether that's friends, family, or a video game that you love playing, or your guitar. Whatever it is, it's okay to take a day off. So remember, guys, the only time you actually fail is when you give up. And lastly, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. And comment down below the one thing that you do better than anyone else you know and that you could probably turn into a business.